The courtyard of the pack house was alive with murmurs, laughter, and the restless shifting of wolves beneath human skin. Torches licked at the cool night air, spilling golden firelight across stone steps. Above it all, the moon stared down like a silent witness. She stood at the edge of the gathering, spine rigid though her heart hammered like prey. Every part of her body ached to look at him, the alpha, but she forced her gaze elsewhere. If she looked too long, if she lingered on the silver edge in his eyes, someone might see what she was trying so desperately to hide. "Did you hear?" Someone whispered near her shoulder. "She doesn't want him." She turned him down. A ripple of disbelief ran through the crowd. The words spread like fire across dry brush, sharp, merciless. She swallowed against the ache in her throat. "Let them think it's true. Let them believe I'd rather die alone than be his mate." Then he appeared at the top of the steps, taller than any man had a right to be, shoulders carrying the weight of authority as though it was his birthright. His gaze cut through the crowd like a blade, cold and searching, until it found her. The air between them tightened. Her breath caught, her wolf shivering just beneath her skin. Instinct screamed to run to him, to surrender, but she pressed her nails into her palms instead. Their eyes locked, and then, with deliberate precision, she shook her head. A small motion, almost imperceptible, but he saw it. Gasps echoed around her. "She's rejecting him." The alpha didn't move. His expression betrayed nothing. No rage, no confusion, only a flicker, quick and sharp, in those silver eyes that told her he knew. He knew. Still, he turned away. "So be it." His voice rolled, deep and measured, meant for the crowd. The words struck her harder than claws to flesh. Her chest burned as though branded, but she didn't flinch. If she showed even a spark of pain, the truth would unravel, that she wasn't rejecting him because she wanted to, but because she had no choice. The gathering dissolved into uneasy chatter, wolves whispering in disbelief. She forced herself to walk steadily toward the forest edge, her every step heavy with secrets she could never confess. Behind her, she felt his gaze like a tether stretching between them, taut and unbreakable. She knew he hadn't believed her act, not for a moment, and worse, she suspected he already understood what no one else could. She was his true mate, and she had just denied him. The night swallowed her retreat, but the sting of rejection lingered, sharper than the bite of any wolf. The forest swallowed her whole as she left the pack's courtyard behind. Shadows curled around the trunks, the moonlight painting her path in silver. Each step echoed with the weight of whispers, the sting of her own lie pressing harder against her chest than any stone. When she reached the small cabin at the edge of the territory, she finally let herself breathe. Her fingers shook as she pressed them to her temples. The rejection burned in her veins, not because it was real, but because pretending had cost her more than anyone could ever understand. She lit a lantern, the flame flickering across the worn wood walls. Alone at last, she let her wolf stir. Her reflection in the cracked mirror shifted golden eyes gleamed where brown should have been. A reminder, a warning. If they saw me like this, if they knew what I truly was. A knock rattled the door. She stiffened. "Are you going to hide all night?" The voice belonged to Leora, one of the pack females, sly with curiosity. "I don't want company." Leora ignored the dismissal and pushed inside anyway, her perfume sharp in the tight space. She eyed the heroine with a predator's smile. "So it's true. You told the alpha no. Bold. Or foolish." She forced her voice to remain steady. "It was my choice." "Was it?" Leora tilted her head, studying her like prey. Strange. Most women would claw through stone to be claimed by him. Her eyes narrowed, as though sniffing out the lie beneath the words. The heroine turned away, hiding the faint glow still flickering in her gaze. "Then I'm not most women." Silence stretched thick, tense, waited with unspoken suspicion before Leora finally smirked. "We'll see how long you can keep your secrets." When the door shut behind her, the heroine collapsed against the wall, heart pounding. Leora's curiosity was dangerous, Others would start to notice too. And if her secret slipped, it wouldn't just be her life on the line, it would be his. She pressed her palms to her chest, as if she could keep the truth buried inside her ribs. The mate bond throbbed there, fierce and undeniable, pulling her back toward the man she had just rejected. But she couldn't go to him. Not now, not when every shadow seemed to whisper that danger was closer than she dared to admit. Still in the quiet cabin, beneath the hush of the forest, she felt at the Alpha's gaze lingering, even from afar. Watching, waiting, knowing. The Alpha stood at the balcony of his chamber, the night stretching endless before him. From here, the forest was a sea of shadows and whispers, alive with secrets he could almost taste. And beneath it all, he felt her like a pulse thrumming at the edge of his senses. She thought she had hidden herself well, retreating into that lonely cabin at the border, but the bond refused to be silenced. Even now, her pain echoed through him, faint but sharp, as though their hearts were tied by invisible threads. He clenched his jaw. Why pretend to reject me? The pack believed her lie. They whispered about her arrogance, her audacity, her defiance. Let them. He didn't care for their gossip. What struck him was the way her eyes had trembled when she looked at him, the way her pulse had skipped a truth she hadn't been able to mask. She wanted him, needed him, but something held her back. A knock at his chamber door broke his thoughts. His beta entered. Brow furrowed. Alpha, the rival packs are circling. They sense weakness. A mate who refuses you. She didn't refuse me. His voice cut like steel, sharp enough to halt the beta mid-breath. But the others, I said. He growled, eyes glinting with silver fire. She didn't refuse me. The beta lowered his gaze and bowed out without another word. Alone again, the Alpha exhaled slowly, steadying his rage. He had waited years for this bond, prayed to the moon goddess for the one who would steady the beast inside him. Now that she was here, he would not lose her, not to fear, not to secrets, not to anyone. Still, he could not force her. If she was hiding something, and he knew she was, it had to be her choice to reveal it. So he would wait. Watch. Let her think her lie had fooled him. But in the dark, his vow sharpened into steel. She is mine. And nothing, not even her rejection, will change that. From the forest below, a wolf's distant howl cut through the night. His gaze flicked toward the sound, silver eyes narrowing. He knew whose voice carried in that cry. Hers. And it sang of longing she could never admit. Morning spilled soft light across the pack grounds, but the air felt heavier than usual, thick with whispers that refused to fade. Wherever she walked, eyes followed, some filled with curiosity, others with judgment. The story of her rejection had taken root overnight, twisting into rumor that spread like wildfire. She ignored them, chin lifted, though her heart wavered beneath the weight. Her path took her to the training fields where warriors sparred, their shouts and the clash of bodies echoing against the hills. She told herself she was only passing through, but her wolf knew better. Because he was there. The Alpha stood at the center of the field, sparring with two men at once. His movements were sharp, deadly, every strike controlled. Sunlight caught in his dark hair, his muscles flexing beneath his shirt, the raw power of his wolf simmering just beneath the surface. Her chest tightened. She dragged her gaze away too late. He had seen her. Their eyes collided like a spark catching flame. Silver met gold, an unspoken pull tightening the air between them. For a heartbeat, the world stilled. Then he advanced on his opponents with renewed ferocity, every strike precise, every motion a silent reminder of the strength he wielded. She swallowed hard, heat rising in her cheeks. She hated that her body betrayed her, that her wolf strained against her skin, begging to run to him. A hand brushed her arm. She flinched. Leora again, her smile sharp. Still watching him, are you? Strange behavior for someone who claims not to want him. I'm only passing through. Her voice was clipped, though her pulse thudded in her ears. Leora's gaze swept back to the Alpha, then to her. Careful. Someone might think you're lying." The heroine turned and walked away before her control slipped. Yet, even as she fled, she felt his gaze following her, searing between her shoulder blades. Later, in the quiet of the woods, she tried to calm her restless wolf. The bond clawed at her resolve, demanding she admit the truth. Every brush of his eyes, every stolen second, it was tearing her apart. But she couldn't give in. Not when her secret could destroy them both. Still, when the wind shifted, carrying the faint scent of cedar and storm that belonged only to him, her knees nearly buckled. She pressed a trembling hand against a tree, eyes closing. "Stay away," she begged herself, but deep down she already knew. Neither of them would. The pack's hall brimmed with noise that night, firelight throwing restless shadows against the stone walls. A feast was meant to be a celebration of strength and unity, but unease clung to the air like smoke. She slipped into the corner, her heart hammering as new scents mingled with the pack's own. They were not alone. From the far side of the hall, a stranger entered, tall and broad, his presence announcing itself before he spoke. His wolf's energy rolled off him in waves, dominant, challenging. His eyes, a pale, icy blue, swept the crowd until they landed on her. A smile tugged at his lips. Dangerous. Calculated. "Merrick," someone whispered. "Alpha." Of the Iron Fangs. The heroine's stomach tightened. She knew his kind, hungry for power, eager to exploit weakness. And what weakness was greater than a mate bond denied? Merrick bowed mockingly to the host Alpha, then turned his full attention to her. "So this is the she-wolf who refuses to be claimed." His words carried, loud enough for others to hear. Heat rushed to her face as whispers rippled across the hall. She forced her voice steady. "You know nothing about me." "Oh, but I intend to." His grin widened, wolfish and cruel. "A woman bold enough to reject her fated mate? That intrigues me." Before she could answer, movement cut through the crowd, her Alpha. His steps were silent, deliberate. His silver gaze locked not on her but on the rival who dared to circle. "Marek," he said evenly, though the warning threaded his tone was unmistakable. "You've made your greeting. Now leave her be." Marek chuckled low. "Ah, so you do care. Interesting. I thought she'd humiliated you beyond repair." The Alpha's eyes narrowed, the storm inside him barely leashed. For a heartbeat, she thought he might unleash his fury right there. But instead, he shifted his stance. Calm and cold. "You've overstayed your welcome." The air thickened, wolves in the hall instinctively lowering their gazes. Merrick's smirk lingered on her before he finally inclined his head and stepped back. The danger wasn't gone, though. She could feel it, coiled like a snake, waiting to strike. Later, when the hall emptied, she slipped outside for air. But the rival's voice found her in the dark. "Secrets have a way of surfacing," Merrick murmured, his breath hot against her ear. "And when yours does, I'll be waiting." Her wolf bristled, golden eyes flickering. She wanted to fight, to bear her true strength, but that would mean exposing what she had buried so carefully. And somewhere behind them, she sensed him, the Alpha, watching, listening, his control stretched razor thin. The full moon rose like a silver crown above the treetops, its light flooding the clearing where the pack gathered for the ritual run. Energy buzzed through the air, wolves restless, claws itching to break free. She stood at the edge, trembling with the effort to keep her secret caged. The bond surged stronger beneath the moonlight, her wolf clawing at her insides, begging to be seen. She bit the inside of her cheek until she tasted iron. Not here. Not tonight. Her gaze swept across the crowd and found him. The Alpha stood at the center, power radiating from him like fire. His eyes burned silver under the moon, and for a breathless second, she swore they softened when they found hers. But then Merrick stepped into the clearing. The rival Alpha carried himself with a swagger meant to provoke, his icy gaze lingering too long on her. The tension snapped through the pack, whispers rising like an unsettled wind. The Alpha's jaw clenched, but he said nothing. Not yet. Instead, he lifted his head, giving the command for the shift. Wolves exploded into motion, bodies rippling with fur and muscle. Howls pierced the sky. She dropped to her knees, fighting the transformation, fighting her wolf. Her body shook with the effort, golden light flickering beneath her skin. If she gave in, if she shifted, the truth would blaze for all to see. Struggling? Marek's voice cut close, his wolf brushing against hers, testing. She gasped, sweat beading along her brow. Stay away. But her voice was raw, desperate, and he laughed, dark and cruel. Across the clearing, the alpha's wolf froze. His silver gaze snapped to her, ears flattening at her distress. A growl ripped through his chest, vibrating through the ground, a warning that silenced every other sound. The pack went still, tension stretching taut beneath the moonlight. She couldn't breathe under the weight of it. Her wolf screamed inside her, power surging, desperate to break free. And for one terrifying heartbeat, her golden light seared brighter than the moon itself. Gasps rang out. Wolves recoiled. She shoved it back down, trembling, heart-shattering at how close she'd come to revealing everything. The alpha didn't move, his gaze locked on hers, silver fire burning with knowledge and fury. The forest was too quiet after the run. Wolves melted back into human skin, their laughter carrying faintly from the pack house. But she couldn't join them, not with her body still trembling from what almost happened beneath the moonlight. Her wolf prowled inside her, restless and angry at being chained. You can't keep hiding. He already knows. She pressed her back against a tree, dragging air into her lungs, trying to silence the voice in her head. But the bond tugged, relentless, drawing her toward the one man she couldn't face. Why do you fight it? His voice broke the night. She flinched, heart racing, as he stepped from the shadows. The alpha's shirt clung to his chest, damp with sweat, his eyes molten silver in the moonlight. He looked every bit the predator and the mate her soul recognized. I don't know what you mean, she whispered, but the lie was thin, brittle. His steps were deliberate, closing the distance until the heat of his body brushed hers. Don't lie to me. Not after what I saw tonight. Her breath hitched. It was nothing, just the moon, Your eyes. His voice cut through her protest, soft but unyielding. They weren't brown. They burned gold. She froze, every secret she had fought to bury rising to the surface. He leaned closer, his breath warm against her ear. You think I don't feel it? The bond? You're mine. You can pretend before the pack, but not before me. Tears stung her eyes, frustration and longing tangling inside her. You don't understand. If I tell you the truth, it will destroy everything. Then let it, he growled, hand braced against the tree beside her head. Let it burn, as long as it means I don't lose you. Her wolf howled at the words, desperate to yield. Her heart slammed against her ribs, betraying her. She wanted to give in, to let him claim her, but fear chained her still. You can't protect me from this, she whispered, voice breaking. If they knew what I really am. He caught her chin gently, forcing her to meet his gaze. His eyes softened, though the storm beneath them never eased. Then tell me. Just me. Trust me with it. Silence stretched, thick with all the words she couldn't say. Her lips parted, trembling with the weight of confession. But before the truth could fall, a low growl rippled through the trees. Merrick. The rival alpha stepped into the clearing, his smirk sharper than any blade. Well. Secrets whispered under the moonlight? How intimate. Her stomach plummeted. The alpha's body went rigid, fury radiating from him in waves. He shifted, placing himself between her and Merrick, voice dark as thunder. You should not have come here. Merrick's grin widened. On the contrary, I came for exactly this. The night shivered, holding its breath as a dangerous triangle locked into place, truth balanced on a knife's edge, and betrayal circling like a predator in the dark. The clearing felt smaller with Merrick standing there, his presence coiled with venom. Shadows stretched long under the blood-tinged moon, as though the night itself bent toward violence. The alpha's growl vibrated through the ground, every muscle in his body tense, ready to tear the intruder apart. But Merrick only smirked, hands loose at his sides, as if daring him to strike first. "I saw it," Merrick said, voice silk and steel. His gaze slid to her, sharp as a blade. "She's not what she pretends to be. The pack deserves to know." Her breath caught, panic flaring like fire in her veins. "You don't know anything." "Oh, but I do." His grin widened, cruel and knowing. "The golden light, the way you fought the shift tonight. You've hidden it well. But not from me." The alpha stepped forward, fury blazing in his eyes. "Say another word, Merrick, and it will be your last." Merrick tilted his head, mockery dripping from his tone. So protective. I wonder why. Unless..." He let the silence hang, savoring it. "Unless she's yours." Gasps rippled through the wolves who lingered at the edges of the clearing. The whisper of mate carried like a spark through dry leaves. Her heart thundered. Exposure. Ruin. Everything she had sacrificed to keep her secret safe was unraveling before her eyes. The alpha's hand flexed, claws threatening to break through his skin. "Leave her out of this." But Merrick only circled closer, like a predator savoring the kill. "You can't shield her forever. When the pack learns what she really is, what she's hiding, they'll turn on her, and then..." He leaned in, his voice a razor's whisper. "I'll be there to claim what's left." Her wolf snarled, surging against her restraints, demanding to defend herself. Her knees weakened under the pressure, golden light flickering at her fingertips. The alpha moved faster than thought. His body blurred, his wolf half breaking free as he lunged at Marek, slamming him to the ground with a force that shook the earth. The sound of snapping branches and growls filled the clearing, primal and raw. "Enough!" Her voice cracked through the chaos, desperate, trembling. The golden light spilled from her, uncontrollable now, illuminating the night with her secret. Wolves froze, eyes wide with awe and fear. Her chest heaved, exposed and burning under the weight of 100 gazes. The thing she feared most had just happened. Her secret was no longer hers. Merrick laughed from the ground, blood dripping from his mouth, delight shining in his cruel eyes. "There it is, the truth. She isn't one of you. She never was." The alpha turned, his silver eyes blazing as he stood protectively in front of her, voice shaking with deadly promise. "Touch her, and I will end you." But deep inside, she knew the real battle was only beginning not against Merrick, but against the pack itself. The clearing erupted into madness. Wolves surged forward, their growls a storm of confusion and fear. Some pressed back into the trees, ears flattened, while others bared their teeth, torn between loyalty and suspicion. She stood frozen, the golden glow still fading from her skin, her breaths ragged. Every instinct screamed at her to run, to vanish into the forest. But his hand brushed hers steady, grounding. The alpha's grip was unyielding, a silent vow. "You're not alone." Merrick rose to his feet, wiping blood from his mouth, his grin feral. "See how they look at her?" he taunted, sweeping a hand at the restless wolves. "She's a liar, a danger. She doesn't belong." Murmurs broke out, fragments of doubt, questions sharp with fear. "What is she? Why hide it? Can we trust her?" The alpha stepped forward, his voice a thunderclap over the noise. "She belongs to me." His silver gaze cut through the pack, fierce and commanding. "She is mine. And any who challenge her challenge me." The declaration hit like lightning. Some wolves lowered their heads instantly, the bond of loyalty pulling them to obedience. But others hesitated, their unease swelling under Merrick's poisonous grin. "You claim her as yours?" Merrick sneered. "Then you've betrayed your pack as well. You protect an outsider while your own bleed." His voice sharpened, goading. "Will you all bow to a traitor, Alpha?" A rumble shook the clearing as wolves began to shift, claws raking soil, fur bristling. The threat of war loomed thick in the air. Her chest constricted. This was her fault. Her secret had ignited the spark Merrick needed, and now blood would spill because of her. "Stop this," she whispered, though her voice barely carried above the chaos. But Merrick lunged. His body shifted midair, fur bursting across his skin until the massive black wolf crashed into the earth with a snarl. His pack wolves loyal to him poured from the shadows, fangs flashing. The alpha shifted too, silver fur gleaming under the red-stained moon. His roar shook the trees, a sound that sent both loyalty and terror surging through the clearing. He leapt to meet Merrick's attack, their bodies colliding with bone-cracking force. She stumbled back, golden fire sparking at her hands as instinct rose to protect him. Wolves clashed all around, teeth against flesh, claws tearing earth. Screams, howls, and the scent of blood filled the night. Her heart hammered. She could stay hidden no longer. If she ran, he would fall. If she fought, her secret would bind her fate forever. She lifted her hands, and the golden light blazed outward. It seared across the clearing, stunning wolves mid-strike, halting the tide of chaos for a breathless moment. Their eyes locked on her, some in awe, others in fear. "I'm not your enemy," she cried, her voice breaking. "But I won't stand by while you destroy each other." Merrick snarled, blood dripping from his muzzle, and lunged again. But this time, she stepped forward, fire surging brighter, her wolf clawing to be free, and the alpha, battered but unbowed, rose at her side, his silver gaze blazing with pride. Together, they turned to face Merrick and the rival wolves, two forces bound by something stronger than fear. The war for the pack had begun. The battlefield stilled for only a breath, long enough for the red moonlight to paint every drop of blood, every gleam of bared fang. Wolves circled, waiting for the next strike. Her golden fire pulsed at her fingertips, her wolf clawing inside her chest, demanding release. Beside her, the alpha's silver form bristled with power, his growl a promise of death to any who touched her. Merrick crouched low, his black wolf's eyes glinting with malice. "She's no one's mate," he snarled. "She's a curse wrapped in flesh, and when the pack sees what she truly is, they'll never follow you again." But then the alpha shifted back, standing tall despite the blood streaking his skin, his chest heaving with battle-wrought fury. He looked at her, not at Merrick, not at the pack, but at her, and in that moment, the world fell silent. "You are mine," he said, voice low, thunderous. "You always have been. From the first breath, the bond was written in my blood. I don't care what power you hide, what secret you fear. You are my true mate." Her breath caught, every wall she had built crumbling at once. The bond flared between them, raw and undeniable, a searing chain of light and heat that tied her soul to his. Gasps rippled through the wolves. Some fell silent in reverence. Others snarled in protest, but none could deny the truth. The mate bond glowed like fire around them, visible even to mortal eyes. Tears stung her vision as her wolf howled inside. Not in fear this time, but in aching relief. He knew. He had always known. Even when she lied, even when she pushed him away, he had seen her, chosen her. Merrick's roar shattered the moment. He lunged, massive and furious, teeth bared to tear through the bond itself. But she moved first. Golden fire burst from her hands, meeting the alpha's silver fury in a brilliant wave. Together, their powers collided into Merrick with a force that hurled him back, crashing through trees until the forest swallowed him in darkness. Silence fell again. The wolves stared at them, not with suspicion now, but with stunned awe. The alpha's arm wrapped around her, pulling her against him as he lifted his head high. "She is mine," he declared again, voice carrying across the clearing. "And together, we are stronger than any curse, stronger than any rival. She is your Luna." Her chest heaved, the weight of secrecy gone, replaced by something terrifying and beautiful. Truth. And for the first time, she didn't want to run. The clearing was still trembling from the clash, smoke and blood hanging in the air like ghosts. Wolves shifted back one by one, shaken, uncertain, their eyes darting between her glowing hands and the alpha's unwavering stance. Her knees buckled as the golden fire retreated, leaving her drained and trembling. She would have collapsed if not for him. His arms closed around her, strong and steady, pulling her against his chest. His heartbeat thundered under her ear, ragged but alive. "You shouldn't have done that," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Claiming me like this, you've turned them all against you." His thumb brushed a tear from her cheek, his gaze fierce and unyielding. "Let them turn. I'd face them 1,000 times over before I'd let you stand alone." The words carved into her soul, undoing the knots of fear she had carried for so long. Still, doubt clung like a shadow. She looked at the faces around them, wolves whispering, eyes sharp with questions. "They won't forgive me. They'll never trust me now. Then they'll learn." His voice lowered, steel wrapped in tenderness. "They'll see what I see, that you are not a threat, but the strength that holds me together." Her throat closed, emotion too raw to hold back. She had spent so long hiding, believing rejection was the only shield she had. And yet here he was, tearing down every wall with nothing but conviction. One of the elder wolves stepped forward, his tone wary but softened. "Alpha, is it true? She is your mate?" The Alpha tightened his hold on her, his silver eyes blazing. "Yes. She is my true mate. And any who defy her, defy me." The murmurs shifted, some heavy with reluctance, others with tentative acceptance. The bond shimmered faintly around them, undeniable proof, a living flame tying them together. She swallowed hard, guilt rising like bile. "I should have told you sooner," she admitted, her voice trembling. "I thought, if you knew what I was, you'd hate me. Or worse, you'd use it against me." He bent his forehead to hers, his breath warm, his words quiet enough for only her. "Never. Even when you pushed me away, I knew you were mine. I waited for you to trust me. And now, I'll wait as long as it takes for you to trust yourself." Her eyes stung, a sob breaking free. She had never felt so fragile, yet so safe. The pack was unsettled, their future uncertain, but as his arms closed around her tighter, she knew one truth was unshakable. The bond between them could no longer be denied. The night quieted after the storm of battle, though unease still lingered in the air. The pack had dispersed, whispers fading into the trees, leaving only the two of them in the moonlit clearing. The air smelled of pine and iron, sharp with the memory of blood, but softened by the hush of the forest. She stood with her arms wrapped around herself, staring at the smoldering firelight of her own hands as it flickered and died away. Shame coiled in her chest. Even after everything, she feared the way he looked at her. Would he see her as dangerous now? But then he stepped close, the silver of his eyes reflecting not fear, but something far deeper. "Don't hide from me," he said softly, reaching for her hands. "Not anymore." Her breath hitched as his fingers brushed hers. His warmth melted the last of the golden glow, grounding her. "I never wanted you to know," she whispered, "because if you saw the truth, you'd realize I wasn't worth the risk." His expression darkened, his thumb stroking the back of her hand. "Worth the risk? You're the only thing worth it. You're the fire I've been searching for in the dark." Her chest tightened. No one had ever spoken to her like this, not with reverence, not with belief. For years she had carried the weight of rejection, pretending indifference to protect herself. And now, with him, there was no shield left, only truth. He tilted her chin up, forcing her to meet his gaze. "Tell me you don't feel it," he murmured. "This pull between us, this bond that won't let me breathe without you." Her lips parted, words caught in her throat. She wanted to deny it, to cling to the safety of silence. But her wolf surged forward, howling through her chest, demanding honesty. Her hand slid to his chest, feeling the steady, powerful rhythm of his heart. "I feel it," she whispered, trembling. "Every moment, I feel it. It terrifies me." His breath shuddered, and then his mouth was on hers. The kiss was raw, claiming desperate years of longing condensed into a single heartbeat. She melted into him, her fears dissolving beneath the weight of his certainty. The world narrowed to silver and gold, to the heat of his lips, the strength of his arms locking her against him. The mate bond flared between them, no longer hidden, no longer restrained. When they finally broke apart, she pressed her forehead to his, tears slipping free. "What if they never accept me?" "Then let them try," he growled softly, his hand sliding to the back of her neck in a protective hold. "I don't need their acceptance. I need you." The forest hummed around them, alive with the echo of their bond. For the first time, she let herself believe it. Theirs was a love that could not be denied. Dawn painted the horizon in streaks of crimson and gold, the forest still heavy with the echoes of the night before. She walked beside him, her hand in his, though nerves coiled in her stomach. The pack had gathered in the great clearing, their whispers sharp as knives, eyes filled with questions. Her instinct screamed at her to shrink back, to disappear into the trees. But his grip tightened around hers, steady and unyielding. He would not let her retreat. Not now. The alpha strode into the center of the gathering, every line of his body radiating dominance. The murmurs quieted, tensions snapping through the air. He released her hand only to pull her forward, placing her at his side for all to see. "She is mine," he declared, his voice carrying like a thunderclap across the pack. "She is my true mate." The words shattered the silence. Gasps, growls, and disbelief rippled through the wolves. A few bowed their heads in acceptance, but others snarled, their distrust barely contained. An elder wolf stepped forward, his tone heavy with doubt. "Alpha, she carries a power none of us understand. How can we trust her?" The alpha's silver gaze cut through him like steel. "Because I trust her. Because I have seen her strength, and I will not stand by while she is judged for what none of us can control. Her power is not a curse. It is our salvation." The pack shifted uneasily, caught between reverence and resistance. She felt their eyes burning into her, some laced with hatred, others with awe. Her chest tightened. This was the moment she had always feared. But then his hand settled on her shoulder, firm and claiming. His voice lowered, a growl threaded with authority. "She is not just my mate. She is your Luna. You will respect her as you respect me. Any who dare defy her will answer to me." The dominance in his tone left no room for challenge. Several wolves bowed low, their submission instinctive under his command. Still, others hesitated, their distrust etched in their stares. She lifted her chin, her fear burning into quiet resolve. For the first time, she did not want to hide. She wanted to stand beside him, unflinching. Her voice trembled, but it carried. "I never asked for this bond, but it is mine, as much as it is his. I will fight for this pack, even if some of you would see me fall." Silence followed, heavy and sharp. And then, slowly, one by one, wolves bent their knees. Not all, but enough. The alpha's hand tightened on hers again. His voice, a final vow. "This is my claim, my choice, my mate, my Luna." The words rang out like a challenge, a promise, and a warning all at once. The packhouse grounds buzzed with uneasy energy. Wolves lingered in clusters, their voices hushed, their eyes restless. The night's battle and the alpha's declaration had shaken them, leaving cracks of doubt in their unity. She stood at the alpha's side, every muscle taut, aware of the stairs cutting into her. Whispers brushed her ears like thorns. Outsider, danger, unworthy. Yet when she glanced at him, his hand tightened around hers. One look from his silver eyes told her she was not standing alone. The beta, his second in command, stepped forward, his expression grim. "Alpha. The pack is divided. Some question her. Some fear her. And some—" his eyes flicked to her, softer now. "Some already see her as Luna." A ripple of tension spread. The alpha's jaw flexed, his voice steel. "They will learn. Tonight, I end the doubt." He guided her to the center of the courtyard. Wolves shifted, forming a ring around them. The air thickened with anticipation, dominance clashing with distrust. Her heart pounded. She had never wanted this stage, this weight of so many eyes. But when he released her hand and stepped back, forcing her into the circle alone, she froze. "Show them," he said quietly. "For her ears only. Not your fear, not your shame. Show them who you are." She drew in a trembling breath. The golden fire flickered at her fingertips, hesitant. Wolves tensed, growls low, some edging back in fear. For a moment she faltered until she remembered the look in his eyes, the certainty she had never been able to give herself. The fire spread, not wild this time but steady, glowing like the dawn. It poured over her, shimmering across her skin, illuminating the courtyard in golden light. No longer hidden, no longer feared. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Awe silenced the whispers. "I am not here to destroy you," she said, her voice firm, carrying in the hush. "I am here because fate bound me to him and to you. I will fight for this pack. Protect it. Stand with it, whether you accept me or not." The silence was crushing, and then one wolf knelt. Another followed. Soon, dozens bowed low, heads bent in submission. Not all, but enough to turn the tide. The alpha stepped beside her again, his hand firm on her back, his voice deep and commanding. "She is your Luna. Honor her as you honor me." The weight lifted from her chest, tears burning her eyes. For the first time, she felt it not rejection, not fear, but belonging. The pack had begun to accept her. The night was quiet at last. No whispers of doubt, no growls of challenge, only the steady rustle of the forest, the moon bathing the pack lands in silver peace. The wounds of the battle still lingered, but the worst was behind them. She stood at the edge of the woods, the cool breeze brushing her hair, golden sparks faintly dancing at her fingertips. For the first time, she wasn't afraid of the light. It was hers, her power, her truth. The alpha approached silently, as though drawn to her heartbeat. His presence filled the space around her, strong and steady, a tether she hadn't realized she needed until she almost lost it. "You should be resting," he murmured, his hand brushing her arm. Her lips curved faintly. "So should you. You fought harder than anyone tonight." His silver gaze softened, catching the shimmer of the moon. "I only fought for what was mine." The words lodged deep in her chest, melting the last fragile wall she had tried to keep. "I don't deserve you," she whispered. "I lied. I pretended. I pushed you away." His fingers tilted her chin up, forcing her to meet his gaze. "And still, I knew. Still, I chose you. Fate doesn't make mistakes." Her wolf stirred inside her, aching with truth. The bond between them burned brighter than ever, no longer hidden, no longer resisted. He pulled her close, his breath warm against her ear. "Say it," he whispered. "Say you're mine." Her heart pounded, her soul trembling at the demand. She lifted her hands, pressing them against his chest where his heart beat strong. "I'm yours," she breathed. "I've always been yours." His mouth claimed hers, fierce and unrelenting, sealing the vow not with words but with fire. The bond flared between them, golden and silver threads entwining until they blazed like one flame under the moon. The forest seemed to hold its breath. Wolves who lingered at the edges bowed their heads, not in fear, but in reverence. For they all felt it now, the undeniable truth of the mate bond. A force older and stronger than blood or fear. When they finally broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers, his voice low, reverent. "You are my Luna, my mate, my forever." Tears slipped free, but they weren't born of sorrow. They were the release of years of hiding, of pretending, of finally being seen. She leaned into him, her voice steady, unshaken. Forever. The moon bathed them both in silver and gold, the bond burning eternal between them. And for the first time, she knew what it meant to belong not just to him, but to a love that could never be broken. They were forever bound.